If you're after easy to apply motion blur that looks absolutely amazing, then you've come to the right place.
Hello, my name's Dan, you're watching DanVinci, and in this video I'm going to cover off every single way that you can utilize motion blur inside Davinci Resolve. So on your screen now is everything that we're going to be covering off today. Just skip to whichever one you find is the most relevant to you right now. Zoom blur transitions. So I'm going to show you how I created this zoom transition, which I use all the time in my videos. So first of all, you want to go into your effects tab, which is this one right here, and search adjustment clip. I've just searched adjust and it's just come up here, so I'm just going to drag it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this adjustment clip so it's roughly in between the two cuts. Then what you want to do is jump into your adjustment clip on Fusion and then create a transform node like this. Make sure you go to the beginning of your timeline, create a keyframe on size, and then go across your timeline until you find the next shot. So in my case, it's this frame, which is the first frame of the next shot. So I'm going to go to the last frame of the last shot and I'm going to zoom this right the way in. You can do 5 or even 10. It doesn't really matter. Then go to your next frame and create another keyframe with the size, and let's do 0.3. Then go to your edges in the inspector and go down to mirror. Then carry on along your timeline to the end and create another keyframe and make it just 1 back to its original size. Then what we want to do is go into the spline in the top right corner, go down to the spline controls, turn on the keyframes, and let's have a look at our keyframes here. So this is our keyframes, and what we want to do is create an S-curve on the first set of keyframes like this. Click T to open up the ease in and ease out controls, and we want to have a curve something like this. Repeat this for the other side. So what you're looking for is something like this. Now clicking Control Space on your keyboard, search Zoom Blur, and from here it already looks really nice, but let's make sure the keyframes align. So what we want to do is create a keyframe at the beginning on Zoom Blur, make sure it's on 0. Then what we want to do is go to either our last frame of the first clip or the first frame of our second clip and bring this all the way up and create a keyframe like so. There we go. Then go across the timeline all the way to the end and create another keyframe on 0. Then go into the spline, make sure we've just got the Zoom Blur selected. By selecting all the keyframes and clicking S, I'm creating a curve like this, and then I'm just adjusting the ease in and the ease out controls in the top right, create this curve. Something like this. Now, if you're not happy with the speed in which this transition occurs, that's fine. All you need to do is go into the keyframes in the top left corner. I'm finding that my transition is a little bit slow, so all you do is open up your keyframe section, grab your keyframes, bring them right in like so, and by all means customize the keyframes to your liking. So in my case, I'm bringing the zoom blur in a little bit earlier and slowing down the transform node on the second half on the second shot, as I prefer how that looks. But obviously edit this transition to your liking. Now let's talk about directional blur. I find the perfect use of directional blur is in its small quantities, like this shot right here. This shot is obviously speed ramped and it's just a drone shot going from left to right. Adding just that little bit of directional blur makes the shot feel just a little bit quicker and a little bit cooler. It's quite easy to implement, and here's how you do it. So we're in Fusion right now and we've got our media 1 and our media out. So all we need to do is Control Space, search directional blur. So in the inspector on directional blur, you can adjust the length and the angle just like so. What I'm going to do is find where this shot basically speeds up on my timeline, so probably about here. Then go over to the length, create a keyframe, and then I'm going to find the bit where it slows down, so probably around here. Create another keyframe. Then I'm going to go in between our two keyframes and create another keyframe. This keyframe in the middle of these two keyframes is going to be our peak in the graph, which you'll see in a moment. Let's go back to these two keyframes here and let's just put the length down to 0 because we want it to start at 0. We don't want it to be blurry the whole time. Let's go into the spline on our keyframes on the directional blur node. Let's just take a look at what we've got here. So this is perfect. This is going to be our peak just here, and I'm going to just select all of these, click S on my keyboard, and then click T on my keyboard to bring in the ease in and the ease out controls, just like this. And a little top tip for you guys, in Fusion, any of the motion blurs that you can see in the select tool search bar, you can apply to an adjustment clip. Because you can apply these motion blurs to an adjustment clip, it means that you can drag these adjustment clips and save them in your power bins. Basically meaning you can save the keyframing that you've done in a particular folder that you can access at any point in any project. And if you don't know how to open your power bins, it's just the 3 dots in the top left corner of your screen here, as you can see, and just click Show Power Bins. Now for a quick word from today's video sponsor. sponsor. I use sound effects all the time to enhance my content. And I actually get all of my sound effects from Audiio, which is today's video sponsor, an absolutely perfect sponsor for this video. If you're creating really smooth motion blur transitions for your content, then Audiio is the perfect one-stop shop for your sound effects. They don't just do sound effects, they also do a massive range of high quality music, which I've used from time to time with my content. They're super reliable. You can download as much sound effects and music as you want. You can also download stems of individual tracks. And if you use the code DanVinci, I couldn't have thought of a better code for 70% off the Audiio Pro yearly subscription. Go check them out in the links in the description because they might be just perfect for you. Motion blur transitions. Now, if you want to combine two different shots together like this and create this really seamless transition using motion blur to hide the cut between the two shots, you want to use in the edit page the effects tab and search adjustment clip. But before I show you exactly how to use the adjustment clip here, I'd recommend you prep your shots by speed ramping them. Speeding up the first one and slowing down the second one. If you want to learn how to speed ramp in Davinci Resolve, I'll leave my latest video on that subject in the description. And long story short, you want the first shot to start at 100% and then speed up. And your second shot, you want to start at your fast speed. So let's say, for example, 1000% and slow down to 100%. And just make sure the speed ramp is eased in and out. I'd also recommend that your two shots are moving in the same direction. Otherwise, if you have one moving forward and one moving back, it's not going to look, well, right. Place your adjustment clip between your two shots like this. We're going to apply our motion blur to this adjustment clip. Now, it's important that you have that adjustment clip covering the section of your footage that is moving at high speed, as when you're moving at high speed, you have lots of motion blur. My first shot actually accelerates around here, so I'm going to drag my motion blur all the way to around this spot just here. If yours only accelerates towards the end of the shot, obviously you only need the adjustment clip there. Before jumping into Fusion on the adjustment clip, find the exact point that your two shots collide and place a marker by clicking M on your keyboard like you see on screen here. This marker will show up on your keyframe section in Fusion later on and is a great way of seeing in Fusion without having to jump back into your edit page where one shot ends and another begins. So let's jump into Fusion on the adjustment clip. Clicking Control Space together opens up your Select Tool search bar, and what you want to search is optical flow. Then also search vector motion blur. And make sure they're in your node tree in this order. Let's go to the beginning of our timeline, and what I'm going to do is ease in, using the keyframes in the inspector, our vector motion blur, because we don't want it to just suddenly start, because that would look odd, like me in this channel. I'm an odd guy with lots of energy. So I'm going to go into the inspector here and I'm going to mess around with our vector motion blur scale by creating a keyframe. And I'm also going to go into the optical flow node and I'm also going to mess around with our warp count. I'd recommend with the warp count, either leaving it at its default setting of 5 or reducing it. I really wouldn't crank this up as the warping can get a little bit too extreme, giving a far more artificial look.
That don't look so good.
So once we've created that keyframe, let's move a few frames forward to probably about here, for example, create another keyframe. And I'm going to jump back by clicking this arrow here, back to our first keyframe, and I'm going to bring this right the way down to 0. Then I'm going to go into our spline here, and I'm going to open up the keyframes we've just made, and I'm going to select them both, click S on my keyboard to create a nice eased in curve, and then click T to just adjust the ease in and the ease out. Something like this is ideal. Then just go to one frame before your marker and just make sure that that motion blur looks all right. Now you are, unless you have the most powerful PC on planet Earth, going to need to render in place. I would suggest really right-clicking, clicking new compound clip, and then rendering this comp in place. I've seen other channels use render cache and all of that jazz. I think it's all crap. Just do this. Then you can just decompose the render in place and make some changes that way. It's just better. Just trust me.
How can I trust you?
Even the mighty DanVinci, myself, is having to render this in place. It's a skill. If you're a good editor, you also have patience. I don't have any patience, really. I'm bored as hell. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Why did I do that? Now this is great, but the morphing is ruining it. So, and I'm going to bring down the warp count on the optical flow, as I believe this doesn't look great.
Now, as you can see here, the vector motion blur is doing its job perfectly. Bringing down that warp count has its drawbacks though. Although we've fixed that warpy look to our footage that we saw earlier, now our motion blur doesn't look as aggressive. In your situation with your footage, it might be a little bit different. All I'd recommend really at the end of the day is that you adjust the warp count with the optical flow node and the vector motion blur scale. Just mess around with these two controls as much as you'd like until you get your desired look. But there is another motion blur effect that I like to use in my content, and combining that effect with optical flow and the vector motion blur node can be just a little trick to make your footage look even better.
Okay, so I'm going to add motion trails on top of my vector motion because I don't quite like vector motion by itself with this particular shot. I find sometimes I do this, and I think this is a good example of that. So in the inspector, on motion trails, on the first frame, bring the trail length all the way down to 0, and then I'm going to find the same keyframe that vector motion blur ramped all the way up. I'm going to jump to that one, go back onto motion blur trails, go to trail length and crank that back up to probably about 4. It's a little bit too strong for my liking, so I'm going to bring that right down a little bit, maybe put it on 2. Then I'm just going to jump into the spline, add an S curve, make sure it's the same as the vector motion, and I'm also going to go to the end of my adjustment clip and I'm going to do the exact same but in reverse, ramping everything down. So creating one keyframe and then another with everything collapsed down to 0, while also obviously adding a nice curve. Let's comp that and render that in place again and see how that looks.
Now, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This one's been crazy. Behind the scenes, I have been ill and basically I lost my voice. And your voice is very, very essential for YouTube. And I still, right now, don't quite sound 100%. So I do apologize if I sounded very, very zombie-like earlier on. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any other types of tutorials or specific features that you want me to cover in DaVinci Resolve. But that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Dan, you've watched DanVinci, and please subscribe right now. It's very demanding of me, I must say.